You know what this show needs? Catchphrases.
Catchphrases, yeah.
I don't know what the catchphrase is.
Show me the metametrics. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Meta Context, a show where we go and talk about all the things about our business. Talk about the metrics, talk about what's on our mind, and really ultimately share our process of growing our business from zero to hopefully the moon. We are your hosts. I'm Graham McCarthy, CTO and co-founder of the company. And with me today, as always, is my wonderful co-founder, Brendan McEachran, CEO of Soapbox.
Awesome.
Let's get started.
Today we have, I think, a great show for you. We're going to go through our metrics, be as open, as transparent as we possibly can, although it freaks me out, makes me feel weird inside. Then we're going to ask each other some questions about some of our tweets, because I wonder what Graham's getting at. Did he really read the article? I don't know. He's got some things about mine. And then we're going to go down into our topic of the day, which is a step in our hiring process that we've dubbed the founder veto.
Well, let's do it.
Okay. On our news, we did have 2 people start.
Yeah, it's always good to have fresh faces in the office, the virtual office.
How was day 1 with the newbies for you? No change?
Yeah.
Big change?
No change at all. I don't talk to them today, so absolutely no effect on my day. You talked with both of them today.
I talked with both of them. I thought they were great. I mean, Nicole, I obviously know. Went through a phone screen with her, went through interview 1, 2, passed her off for founder veto, which we'll talk about in a second. But she's great. I have a lot of confidence in her. I hadn't really met Ellie and, just heard through the grapevine some stuff, so I was kind of curious what to expect. I mean, like, when you're not at all a part of the interview process, the way we approach it is like, if Graham's involved, I don't have to be involved. If I'm involved, Graham usually doesn't have to be involved. So because Graham had a hiring manager for this role, he was doing this founder veto thing, then I was like, cool, I don't need to be a part of it. And he's great. I mean, he's 100% obvious. Yes. Great person. Seems like a great person.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you how you feel about our new org signups.
I feel the same way that looks, and it's down and to the right, which isn't really, it's the right direction in terms of it's go right, but not up. I want to go up, not down. Yeah, it's down, and it's no good, and it just keeps dropping, and I'm not sure. Well, I know why. Like we explain why. We ran a big campaign earlier on in the year that ended, so we're sealing tail off from that.
This week,
we had another big push on Microsoft Teams, and then we stopped pushing that feature product. I guess that market. We stopped the core launch there, so that's also dropping. So just it's a lot of reasons, and web is the only reason why we're still thriving, and I think web is also down.
Web is down. Web is down for totally normal. I mean, and by normal, I just mean statistically normal reasons. Like traffic's about the same. Conversion rates dropped on a couple key pages. Nothing really be concerned about, assuming it bounces back. That's just normal fluctuations that line up every once in a while. Weirdly, the only thing that's like sometimes, we're so reliant on Google that sometimes like their internal algorithms can kind of screw us a little bit. So last week we got put on the Discover feed. I don't know if you know the Discover feed, but
I have no idea what's that.
Discover feed is like when you open up Chrome on iOS. So we had an article go on the Discover feed, but the posts that do well on that are not the posts that do well on SEO. This is clickbait. It's different clickbait. Sometimes these things like interrelate. Like when you get a bad bounce rate from Google, that affects your score. And so I wonder if, because that article spiked, Google was sending us like an extra couple thousand clicks. And then the bounce rates of those, because those would be higher than our typical bounce rate maybe, or like whatever, like then affects like some of the other rankings. Like we slipped a little bit in some of the rankings, which means you get a little bit less click through, which means you get a little bit less quality leads, whatever. Okay, the good news here though, activated logo is totally fine.
Top line numbers are down, but we're holding true on those who have been activated.
Yeah,
that's pretty strong.
Final week of trial, great. In fact, better than
actually it's positive.
Right? It's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we had a good top of funnel last week or past couple of weeks ish, but I mean not in comparison to the start of the year.
I think it's pretty solid. It means our top of line's a little less coming through the door, but those who are coming through are the right type of people and they're sticking around. So that's great.
But actually the final week of trial was better than the week prior.
Yeah.
And we went down.
And we had a lower conversion rate to pro. Yeah, to our paid offering. Yeah, I think there's something wrong, and it's not that it's wrong. Like it's a beautiful dialogue that pops up for our
it's not
modal,
optimized,
but It's not optimized. We haven't run any tests to actually improve conversion rates. We just threw it up because it's really pretty, and that's why you don't just do that. You don't throw something up hoping that it's going to work.
Active customers, flat. You know, to the conversation we had as a team, don't care. Borderline, like this might just be the wrong thing to show the team.
Are you saying customers don't matter?
No, customers matter a lot. I think we're like over, like to Nick's point, like we churned customers. The average price was $dollars and something cents.
Less than our cheapest product offer.
Like, how is that even possible? And it's basically these junky deals come through and churn out
discounts.
And Nick was like, I don't give an F about the people we lose. Like, instead, we should focus all of our energy on the people per day that are like right in our strike zone that we're not doing anything with.
This is why we have that ideal customer profile: 50 to 500 scaling tech companies.
Yeah. So all of that said, MRR flatlined.
Makes sense because our payment model doesn't work.
I'm glad you're thinking about it that way because my thought is not at all that way. But you're like more like what's in Graham's control, and I'm like more.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, I know if I was to flip my brain, so like I'm now Brennan, I'm like our customer support team and customer sales success team isn't getting customers. We're not doing business trials, which actually gets us MRR.
Yeah. Good news is though, right? Like we're sitting on a mountain of opportunity. We're just not doing anything on it. So I'm pushing pace on that team. We're running 2 experiments this week. So one is like I have an automated email that goes out to Strike Zone customers. It's never been changed. I just wrote it. It worked. Nick has half rewritten that to be a little bit more. Hopefully we get more of our Strike Zone people from it. So it was like, hey, I'm your customer onboarding specialist. Let me help you get the most of your trial, to like now like, hey, I talk to people who are part of like 5,500 person scaling organizations, talk to like 50 of them a week, blah, 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 blah. We'd love to chat with you. And then the other one is we've got our list of accounts that are already paying us money that we've then manually filtered to healthy accounts within our Strike Zone. And we have all that data there. We just haven't run an experiment on it. So I've pushed them like Nick, get an experiment out tomorrow or today. I think we're going to pick of those and run a thing that's like, hey, person, my CEO offered to personally run 5 lunch and learns this month to the customers of my choosing. I thought you would be a great fit. Let me know. And the thought is like, could we do that and increase their usage or get 1 or 2 more people on it? I mean, if we have a process that gets 1 or 2 more people on it and we repeat that process every single week, we make a ton of money, like a ludicrous amount of money. Monthly active users, this is easy. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah. I mean, I think we can get back to where it peaked there. Moving above that, I think we just need to increase our top line. More people. I guess we could increase seat expansion. So we just need to just do more.
Okay. Switching to a different topic. Explain the tweet, where I get to creep your profile and ask you questions, and you get to creep my profile and ask me questions. I'm going to ask you something to save myself time. I didn't read this article, but you tweeted about it. First of all, I'm going to give you a shout out. Updated profile, updated emojis.
Yeah, I thought I ruined it because of my double emojis.
No, it's great.
And I clearly have to make one line shorter. I tried to make it look good.
It's fine over here. It's fine over here.
Okay. I'll fix it. I'll make it better.
Works great over here. Look how great that is.
Yeah, that's what I optimized it for. Was that?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll make tweaks.
You tweeted that motivating your team is incredibly important. Make sure you're genuine. Are you genuine about it? Do you really think motivating your team is important?
Oh man. That's so funny. It's like, obviously, yes. Am I genuine about it? I think everyone should strive to be genuine, and I thought I was. But then reading this article, there are parts where I think I also do what the article says not to do. So I thought that was interesting, and that's kind of why I tweeted it. I rarely retweet things. It's not my thing.
No, I know. I'm forcing you to.
That's not true. I retweet things that are funny. But to retweet something of substance, that's not me. I'm not that
that's
guy.
why I was like, hold on a second. Okay, so this person writes an article. I'm not going to read it because I'm not you.
So really the net of all this, employees are motivated when they want to be motivated. Like, so basically if we're in the office and I walk past a room and I see like one of my like engineering managers in there, so let's say Chris is in that room, and I go by it, I think like, oh yeah, he did a really cool thing yesterday. I want to tell him he did a good thing. So I peek my head and say, hey Chris, remember the thing you did yesterday? Great job. And then I walk away. In my mind, I've done a great thing. I've just motivated my employee. I've given him the praise that I want to give him because that's the time that I took to do it. But that's the time I took. I took a moment, a tiny little piece of my day to praise him when the effort was probably a lot more than that feedback was provided.
Like make it a moment.
So what I should make it a moment, exactly. And that's what the article talks about. It's the drive-by praise may be taken positively, but Probably not, because you will leave and then he'll think, really? I spent like 4 hours working
and
on
you're
that
just
late night,
gonna
and you're just going to give me like a quick flippant response as you walk by my office.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
I'm guilty.
Yeah, I know. And you don't mean to be, because you're busy.
Well,
You're
you
doing a lot of
think something's better than nothing.
And in some cases, something is not better than nothing. Don't just make up stuff. Actually have specific pieces of feedback and show the gratitude that's worth whatever it was that you're recognizing in the efforts. And actually, I think one thing we do well at Soapbox is the recognizing through the puffin for the engineering team, which is our kind of team-wide recognition of how each employee goes above and beyond to live up to the company core values. So that's one thing. And then at the company level, we have the narwhal, which is basically the same thing, but their recognition doesn't come from us, the leaders. It comes from their peers.
I feel like that's more valuable. I feel like just peer recognition, because they don't have to. There's no like sense of duty of like a good manager or whatever. It's like, no. I personally really appreciated that this person did this thing for me, right? I think that goes, it like hits home a little harder.
All right, so I call this your hot trash tweet.
Yeah.
So basically you talked about a day where you went from fire to fire.
Yeah.
Just too much happening.
Yeah.
And then you felt like calling it a day, be like, close your laptop, go home. But you didn't.
Yeah.
Instead, you picked the fastest task and did it.
Yeah.
And how did it feel?
Great.
Said it felt great.
Yeah. I mean, okay, let's be real. 90% of this tweet exists because I figured out if you put the fire emoji on top of a trash can, it looks pretty funny.
It does look amazing. Honestly, your emoji game is on fire. Literally.
No, I mean, you also had a bad day that day.
Yeah. Because I set out to do one thing and I ended up doing not that thing.
I looked after that. Your whole day was booked and it was like, do blank work. And I was like, oh, man, I know what you intended to do. I did the same thing. I looked at my notes of what I intended to do and I was like, oh my God, I have done none of this. And that was like 3:30 or whatever. We're like done. What can I do? I could
emotionally drained.
I'm tired. I'm out of coffee.
Yeah. You're not on the maker schedule.
I'm not, like,
you're just ruined.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, do I try to plug away and do unproductive work for a bit, or just like now it's like, hey, we're remote, I can just like open up the door and like win some extra points on the other side of the door. I looked at my list and I was like, oh, then the big thing at the top of my list was the first thing I wanted to accomplish that day was like the big hairy meaty topic, and I was like, oh, I can't do it. And I looked at the end of the list, and the end of the list was like reply to one email that I was like, don't forget about this one email that I have to reply to. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that one. And then I did that one, and I was like, all right. And I was like, let me go back to that list and just scratch that right off. And I was like, all right, the one above that, which was like the second last thing to do, was like another really easy one. I was like, all right, let me do that one too. And then I was like, oh, great. Now that tomorrow morning, I don't have to do that task. And so the big hairy one, I still had to do the big hairy one the next day, but at least I could do that with clarity of thought, that there wasn't like other things bogging me down coming later, so I was able to actually have a pretty successful Thursday. So while like the one thing I think like we forget sometimes as like managers, maybe leaders, is like, I think we spend a lot of time thinking about managing like, ooh, I don't want to burn this person out, I want to burn these people out. But I think we sometimes forget that like we can go through burnout and we just operate. There was some stat that was like 60% of managers are past the point of burnout. Like, obviously, you're a bad manager. You're burnt out.
Because you can take on so much burden that now you're also burnt out. So you're not giving good advice.
Yeah, so...
That's it.
Maybe.
That's exactly how to do it.
Okay, 30 seconds or less. Founder Veto. You said to me Thursday or Friday last week, you said, this is why I'm very glad we have that step in our hiring process, the founder veto step. And I said, hold on 1 second, and then I put it in here, and then I forgot the entire reason why we added it in.
Yes, that's exactly what happened, and then you just spurred my brain. Like, now I remember everything.
So
I remember the whole context. Yes.
Okay, so context. So we have a hiring process, which is basically the who method, the A method of hiring, where we do resume screen, phone screen, we do some interviews, and then there's typically it would be a sell process. Factored into our sell process is a thing called a founder veto, which is basically the other founder gets now access to the candidate. And I would say it's a relatively common process for us to veto someone in the final stages of an interview process. So in this past bit, what has made you think this is a good step? I'm glad we have this step.
We've had the step since the beginning, since we started Soapbox. It's always been there, and I've been on both sides. I've been on the frustrated side, where like I bring a candidate I love all the way through the funnel. At the very end, you crush crushed my dreams, and we get rid of the person.
Yeah.
But then it's typically because of a specific reason that I was just either ignoring or trying to be like, oh yeah, I can work through that. Trying to be like I guess overconfident that I could fix these problems.
Or like willing to ignore or willing to let that slide.
Yeah, because the person's so technically proficient, I'm willing to just ignore their interactions with other team members because they're a little prickly. That's not our culture fit. It's bad.
Yeah.
So I think just that process is important. And then this happened twice recently where I had to veto one of my engineering manager's candidates in the incredibly late stages. Not because of technical proficiency or the facts that they're nice people. Yeah, it's just, I know, zooming out.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, a year from now, we're going to run into these issues
and it's not worth
that
it.
You're avoiding now, and it's not worth it. You need to just
spend the extra 14 days and get someone better in.
Yeah, exactly. And then we did, for one of the candidates, we did spend those extra 14 days, and we got a great candidate to replace. Yep. So it's like, you'll always get that right person, that right fit, if you just wait 6 months from now.
And the reason why, like, the founder part about it is, like, I always think, this isn't necessarily true, but, like, founders can't quit. They can, but like, you know, theoretically, they don't or can't. Yep. And managers can get poached all the time. Yep. VPs get poached all the time. So, like, they can settle, and then guess who gets stuck? Like, the company, the culture gets stuck with these people. You know, some random person.
I call it our technical debt.
Yeah, it is. In a way, it could be cultural debt, people debt, right?
Cultural debt.
And so, like, people talk a lot about, like, you know, the no asshole rule. I mean, it's that, but it's on steroids. It's like not only that one vector of human, it's also like all the other vectors that aren't good, right?
I'm stuck with you for the long haul because I'm here for the long haul.
And like, if your boss quits, you're probably my direct report for a bit. And how excited I am!
Yeah, and I have to deal with you. So I want to deal with great people.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole process, so I'd rather not have a fit today and not have a role fill for 6 months to find.
Bars got to go up every hire. Bars got to go up. There is never a doubt. If there's a doubt, it's a no. Usually.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We didn't let in people who didn't raise the bar, so everyone now has raised the bar. Very happy with all the hires.
I think so too. I feel really good about it. Okay, we got to sign off. I got to go talk to Mike. You got to go. What's your parting thought? I have no parting thought.
No parting thoughts. Just got to work on the business.
Got to work. We got to get back to work. We got to get into it. I think we spent a good 30, 45 days making big strategic changes, hiring, plans, kickoffs, and we got to get a lot of it back to like the stuff that makes us feel great, which is like our weekly tracker going up and to the right. That's May. All right, signing off. Click the bell. The bell. Where's the bell? Bell's here. Bell's here.
It's wherever you put the bell.
Leave your comment below on what you think about my haircut, because it's the first time we've seen it. And if Graham and I should always coordinate t-shirt colors. This week, this is like an emergency recording session, because this is like a little update on what we talked about on Monday this week, which was we were going to have our interview for YC. We had no idea what to expect. Never done one before. We had zero prep. We ended up having not 2 partners interview us, not 3, but 4 interview us. Not for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes. We got grilled. And it wasn't just anyone. I think we got grilled by like...
the people in charge.
The like people, yeah. We had President of Y Combinator there.
Comes out of retirement. Wipes the dust off his interview.
Maybe he does a lot. Maybe he does them every year. I don't know. But from the sounds of it, the people I talked to, they didn't know he did them. So
and he was grilling.
He was grilling. He had
did
me
most
sweating.
Of the talking. Of the 4 people, he was the primary speaker. And it was him and Brennan basically going back and forth.
Oh, God. Dude.
Very fast-paced.
I literally, the rest of the day was shot. I had so much adrenaline going through. Literally, my legs were like, it was like fight or flight mode in that moment. And then the meeting ended, and I was like, I should just run around in circles. But this was a bucket list item for Graham and I. We're like, let's just apply and see what happens. The fact that we got interviewed was like, hey, bucket list is checked, right? If we were disqualified because they just straight up didn't like us, I'd be disappointed.
And that's not the case. You don't send your number one interviewer into the room if you're going to disqualify. So that's amazing. Right. That's celebration itself.
So that's a celebration. So I feel good about that. And then we got something totally out of left field, which was we got today office hours with Calvin, the co-founder and CTO of Segment, which obviously we're customers of and fans of, which I didn't expect. So we did that today, which was less of a grilling, and really likes what we're doing, really likes the app, really wants
Yeah.
to kind of champion us through the process. So we got to brainstorm and play with him a little bit. And I don't know, what did you think? How was it talking to a guy who sold his business for $3.2 billion?
That's wild. I can't even relate on a different level.
Yeah,
I think it was great. I think seeing his he actually enjoyed talking to us. It seemed, and he liked the product. He gave us really good feedback on the product, saying it's a nice, clean interface, looks good, feels good. It's solving a problem that's actually people are going through today. So I think that's a check mark. And then his questions were more about really deep in the data that we provided. So we gave basically, here's the dashboard of our weekly metrics tracker. Mm-hmm. And then he actually went through all the data, found a couple of anomalies that we had in there just because of some data errors and a couple other things. And that was great to actually see him do the work. Yeah.
I was shocked that he spotted some of those things really quickly, which should be hard, or he did the homework, and it sounds like he did the homework.
That's cool. So I do appreciate the effort he put in advance. You don't do that if you're not interested. That's another check mark. That to me, I think, is the check mark.
Yeah, that was a check mark. I mean, he told us he wants us in, so it's literally
a check mark. Except for the one thing.
Yeah, except for that. The one thing with I mean, the past is not like we have demons in our closet. It's more just that hey, we raised a round of funding before this, and that round of funding. Typically they would basically not want investors to own what they own. They'd want to do that at demo day. Hold on a second. Graham, what did you think the odds were of us getting this far into this process?
Yeah, not very good.
When we first applied, when we very first
applied, it was 1 in 17,000.
I remember you thinking we had a shot until I shared the stats with you, and then you were like...
Agreed. I thought we had a shot, because I'm like, of course they have a shot. How many people applied? It was 300? Yeah. 17,000 people applied last cohort. Companies exactly. Not people. You're at cohorts.
I think I heard something like they do 1,700 interviews.
Yeah. So 1 in 1,700.
So that's a 10%. That's a 1 in 10 shot.
Yeah, 1 in 10 shot to get the interview.
The batch size is about 300 companies now. So 1,700 interviews, 300 companies.
Yeah.
That's 1 in 5. About
1 in 5.
So I think what we've realized. Well, I think what the answer was that we just got out of that office hours is. We made it through that 1 in 5. It's just, can we make the deal economics work?
Yeah.
And whatever, if we can't, we can't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that's just outside of our control at this stage. We had to take the deal or else we wouldn't have a business right now. So our own success maybe is what will negate us from this process. So we'll just see how it goes.
Hopefully all of this goes according to plan, or this episode or this data, this video never leaks.
Agreed.
But if it goes according to plan, then the plan was basically get external meetings done. This would be an interesting thing to look back on. But plan was get external meetings done, polished, all beautifully viral loop and hooked model tied together, super snappy, and then utilize the YC network to spread it and get massive spread and massive kind of network lock-in effect, and become the course of a couple of months the dominant force in our space in tech anyways, which is our target. So okay, that's all I wanted to record. So, drop off.
That's our update so far. We'll let you know how it goes.
Big day, little day. How was today?
Just every day. Every day's a big day.
We heard back last night with what I would consider was a conditional yes.
It's a conditional yes, but there's still a condition on it. So Brendan posted a tweet out, a big orange square, which is a nice little teaser.
Orange.
No one's going to notice it.
No one's liked it. No one's commented on it.
No one's probably even seen it.
Anything. They probably thought, he butt tweeted.
And I don't want you to mess with the startup gods.
The startup gods. Yeah.
Don't mess with the startup gods.
But here's the way I feel about it. We've done everything that we could to get in.
In our control, yes.
Everything in our control.
Yep.
And so if we can't get it done at this point, I think it's less about us as founders, and I think it's more about just the situation we find ourselves in, which is fine. If it doesn't happen, I can rest easy at night, and I feel like I'm still excited to go on the journey we were going to go on anyways, and I feel a little bit more validated.
Yeah, the same feelings on my side. We've resurrected our business out of total shambles, and we're making something pretty awesome, so compelling enough that actually they're interested in our business and want us. But because of our history, there's some weirdness on our cap table, so I get the concerns that they have. And so you're right, it's out of our control. It's more just if it's going to happen.
I mean, if they come back and they're like, it's no, then I think our last and final card is let me see if I can get it done at that then. I mean, if it's either that or nothing,
Yeah.
we tried.
Yeah, it's true.
We tried it. We tried it.
You left it all in the field.
Right? If we then try at the number that the board doesn't want and can't get it done, then we tried. Anyways, time will tell. I don't know. I wanted to get back to them quickly. They didn't release one to my last email to begin with, so whatever. Let's see what happens at like midnight tonight. All right, that's it. That's all I want to talk about.